Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasha here with the Man Hour. Sure to head over to manhourradio.com to check out the merchandise page. Sure to check out the blog section as well. And I messed up the website again. It is manhour.co, manhour.co. We got the new and improved website over there. It just dropped about a month ago. Still working out a little bit of kinks, but we got the merch, we got the blogs, and we got the Pick'em League starting over there as well. So once NFL season starts, bada bing, bada boom, head over to manhour.co. Pick in your picks, and the winner, whoever gets the most picks right in that particular week, gets a chance to win a free jersey from Fanatics. So we got good things happening, guys, over here at Man Hour, but it is Tuesday, and that means one thing and one thing only. It is time to overreact to some of the things that we have seen throughout the news. We're going to talk about Lamar Jackson to the Atlanta Falcons, Jimmy G to the Raiders. Going to talk Derek Carr to the Saints, and Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. All that and much more coming up right here on the Man Hour. But first, it is time to get shocked. So, guys, the Super Bowl has now been over for what? About 2 weeks now, right? And I still am getting people into my DMs, posting on Facebook posts, Twitter, YouTube, etc., saying that the Kansas City Chiefs cheated. And when I look at this, I'm like, okay, how did they cheat? I asked a question, how did the Kansas City Chiefs cheat? And they always give me the answer, well, the refs threw a flag. Okay, so did the Kansas City Chiefs throw the flag? Is that how they cheated? No, the refs threw the flag. Oh, okay, so how did they cheat there? Well, Bradbury held. So the Eagles cheated, but the Kansas City Chiefs did. It is time to stop this stupid ass narrative. Kansas City Chiefs cheated. The NFL is rigged. The ref is the true Super Bowl MVP. Stop it. It isn't going to change anything. The only thing that's going to change is your blood pressure and your long life that you're about to not live because you're stressing out over some of the stupidest shit. Simmer down now with that crap. Like legit. If the Kansas City Chiefs cheated, any part of that game would have been that close. Would have come down to the last 8 seconds of the game? Absolutely not. The Kansas City Chiefs definitely wouldn't have made it that freaking close. It was like, you know what? Blow these MFers out. Like, if we're going to cheat, blow them out. Like, come on, guys. Stop with that. Stop with that. All right, guys, it is time to get into some Overreaction Tuesday right here at Man Hour. If you guys haven't done so already, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to whatever platform you are listening to us on YouTube.com/Man Hour, and of course at Facebook.com man hour. If you're going to miss any part of the show whatsoever, I do upload it on Spotify each and every day. Simply search Man Hour NFL Talk, bada bing, and then bada boom, it is right there. We are on pace to get on the first page of the NFL Talk on Spotify. So guys, download it, give it a ranking, and just be honest. Like, what do you guys like about the show? What do you don't like about the show? That is the question that is happening over here at Facebook.com. What do you like or what do you hate about the Man Hour? Let me know. But it is time to get into some Overreaction Tuesday right here at manhourradio.com. Messed up the website again. It is manhour.co. manhour.co. So, obviously, the title subject of the show today is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the biggest story this offseason thus far. He wants a big lucrative deal. The Ravens really don't want to give him a big lucrative deal. Then there's a franchise tag, and then there's he's going here, he's going there. I saw something today that he is going to get a contract of 6 years, $306 million. 6 years, $306 million. So that roughly gives him, about $45-ish million a season. And per sportstrack.com, the market value for a Lamar Jackson is $40.7 million a season. So on this Overreaction Tuesday, the thing that we talked about on the members-only stream last time, I'm bringing it to you guys right here, is does Lamar Jackson go to the Atlanta Falcons? So when we first started talking about this, I'm like, there is no freaking way he's going to the Atlanta Falcons. It just doesn't make sense to the Falcons. It doesn't make sense to the Ravens just to, let him walk or whatever, right? They're definitely the Ravens are either going to get a deal done or they're going to franchise tag him. There are two separate types of franchise tags. There are the fully exempt one where you basically say, I'm tagging you. You don't have an opportunity to talk to anybody else. Go anywhere else. Either you play for me or you're not playing at all in the NFL till you serve out your deal, right? Or there is the non-exempt where they can tag him, but other teams can still talk to him, still negotiate with him. And if he happens to get a deal done, right, then that team gives the Ravens 2 first-round picks. So when I started thinking about this, does Lamar Jackson logically to the Atlanta Falcons make sense? So when we think logically here, right, think very, very logically here. The Atlanta Falcons drafted a rookie quarterback last season in the name of Desmond Ridder. Ridder played the last 4 games of the season, went 2-2 on the season, lost his first 2, won his last 2, but he did improve each and every week, stat-wise, eye test-wise, and basically flow of the game-wise. Like he definitely seemed to lock down that team a hell of a lot better throughout the season. Then we see the pieces that are around Desmond Ridder and or Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota is still on the roster as well. He did play the first 13 weeks of the NFL season for the Falcons. They have Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson, all of their centerstone pieces, nice young pieces that they have there. But after those guys, they don't have shit on that team. They went 7-10 last season, the Atlanta Falcons did, missing the playoffs, obviously, and they have $52 million of cap space. So per StackTrack.com, Lamar Jackson is going to be about a $40.7 million a season guy. The Falcons have $52 million of cap space. Say they give Lamar Jackson that $40 million that he wants, fully guaranteed, right? Or 45 or whatever he wants. That gives you anywhere from about $8 to $12 million to basically sign more receivers. Because what has been the biggest knock of Lamar Jackson his whole career? He has not had a true number one receiver. He hasn't had a very good receiver core. That is why his numbers suck, yada, yada, yada. Well, Drake London and Kyle Pitts, are they going to be that wide receiver core that Lamar Jackson needs? Are they going to be those guys that Lamar Jackson needs to be catapulting to the next level. No, they're not. Drake London is a very solid receiver. Kyle Pitts hasn't shown me shit since his rookie season. Yes, I know he tore his ACL or injured and like all this other stuff. Like, I get it. There's stuff happening with Kyle Pitts. Cordell Patterson, he is old, right? Lamar Jackson on the surface physically to the Atlanta Falcons just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me in my head. If somebody can say otherwise that it makes sense, I would love to hear it. I am on the fence. It's like it just doesn't make sense to me at all. And to just let the Lamar Jackson walk or for 2 first-round picks, I just don't see it happening. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens will ultimately sign a deal. Like I said, I heard 6 years, $306 million, or they're going to franchise tag him, which the franchise tag will give him about $32 million a season because they average the top 6 or something like that. So, guys, if you legitimately think that Lamar Jackson will go somewhere else from Baltimore Ravens, give me a reason why. Give me a reason why. I have to answer some of these comments that are flowing in here. Jeff Newton popping in the chat here. He says Ravens and Lamar won't get the deal done. And Jeff, I am tending to agree with you on this aspect. Because wasn't it earlier in the season when Lamar Jackson was on the elite level, people were like, oh, he's going to get $300 or $400 million deal. And then he went boop, 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 right? They said they were, quote, over $100 million off on their contracts. $100 million off on their contracts. So if the reports are saying that the Ravens are willing to give 6 years, $300 million, is Lamar Jackson asking for $400 million? Like, come on. And then I've heard people, oh, he's a league MVP. He's this. He threw for 3,000 yards and rushed for 1,000 yards his MVP season. Okay, I get it. What has he done for you since then? His MVP season, look at his MVP season. Yes, he threw for 3,000 yards. Yes, he rushed for 1,000 yards. What has he done for you since? He's played about 13 games a season. He has not elevated his game. His game has gone down. That season that he won the MVP, he won it by default. He won it by default because Patrick Mahomes won the previous year. He got hurt, missed 3 or 4 games of the season, still had better passing yards than him, was just under 200 yards less than him rushing. So by default, Lamar Jackson got the MVP. It's just, so stop with all that MVP crap. It is dumb. It is asinine. Lamar Jackson is a trash-ass quarterback. I said it. $32 million as a tag is a generous salary for Lamar Jackson. Christian jumping in the chat here. He says, I don't think they will make a deal. I don't think he's that good, to be honest. Chris, you and I are on the same page. He is a good, solid quarterback. He will win you a lot of regular season games. 12, 11, 13 games, right? He will win you a lot of those games because he is a very dynamic athlete on the field. He is not a leader of men. He is not a quarterback, and he certainly isn't going to lead you to the Super Bowl. So if you are a Marvin Lewis for the Cincinnati Bengals through the 2000s of just happy of being 8-8 and making it to the playoffs, by God, give Lamar Jackson the 6-year, $300 million deal that he wants. Give it to him if you're happy of being mediocre. Now, our Baltimore Ravens fans, I have some Baltimore Ravens fans that are my friends. Hatfield, Isaac, right? Joey, those guys. Those guys are Lamar Jackson fans. They are Baltimore Ravens fans. Are you guys happy of being mediocre? Are you guys happy just making it to the playoffs? I can tell you as a Chiefs fan, I wouldn't be. Yes, Patrick Mahomes got the $500 million deal, right? But it's also over 10 years, right? Backloaded. His deal is meant to be restructured to bring more players in. People were all awestruck about the $500 million, $500 million. It's over 10 years. He is not even the top earning quarterback in the league right now. I think he's like number 6 or something. So, yes, Chris, I do agree with you. I do not think he is that good to be honest, and the Ravens will probably ultimately end up overpaying for him because they are kind of in this limbo state, right? Harbaugh obviously wants to keep his job. The new offensive coordinator obviously wants to make a impact. What is going to keep you a job? What is going to be able to you to make that impact? Go 13-4 in the regular season and be a first-round exit. That will ultimately let you keep your job. Chris says, but that is my own opinion. And Chris, I agree with your opinion. I think your opinion is spot on. We got Drew popping in the chat there. What's up, Drew? Hope you're having a grand old night. Drew is a member over here at youtube.com/manhour. If you guys want some behind-the-scenes footage, some after-hours hanging out sessions, and we had this conversation last night on the Man Hour on the members-only page. I guess feel free to jump in. Leanna says, hey, Man Hour, hope it's Jeff Newton. My phone's being stupid. I'm just, oh, okay. Well, Jeff, I'm glad you are interested in tuning in tonight, man. That makes me feel special. Makes me feel wanted. Jeff says Lamar isn't going anywhere. Ravens will use a franchise tag on him. I do agree. Now, there are two different franchise tags, as we spoke earlier. There is the fully exempt one, and then there's like the non-exempt one. The fully exempt one saying, hey, you are our guy. We're giving you $32 million a year. You can't play anywhere else until you fulfill this contract. And then the non-exempt is where you're basically free agency, but if nobody so they can offer you, and then the Ravens can match the offer, and if they don't, they go to the other team, and then the Ravens get 2 first-round picks. So depending on which tag happens, which happens today, right? Tomorrow, we will see how fully invested that the Ravens are on Lamar Jackson. Drew is just talking out of his butt now. Lamar Jackson to the Bucs makes sense. What about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Lamar Jackson makes sense? Have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ever had this style of quarterback of Lamar Jackson? Tom Brady was a pocket quarterback. Jameis Winston before that was a pocket quarterback. Quarterback before that, what's his name? Brad something, right? Pocket quarterback. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not to be stereotypical here, but they've had this stereotypical white quarterback. Obviously, Jameis Winston wasn't white, but Jameis Winston plays like a white quarterback. In the pocket, and I'm going to pass the ball a lot. Lamar Jackson doesn't like being in the pocket, I did not see Lamar Jackson's tweet today. I actually am not on Twitter that much. Katie Wilson popping in chat says, hi, Man Hour. What's up, Katie? Hope you're having a grand old day. It is, Tuesday here. Hope you had a great Tuesday. We're almost through the week, guys. We are almost through the week. James is popping in and says, as long as Lamar stays far away from Miami, I am good. Was it last offseason that the Miami Dolphins were interested in Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson? Now, obviously, they have Tua, and they have is it Teddy Bridgewater, Skylar Thompson, which I think is the starter. But yeah, Lamar Jackson and the Miami Dolphins just don't make sense. Lamar Jackson can't throw it accurately down the ball 20 yards down the field, and that's their bread and butter is to run as fast as I can, as far as I can. Excuse me. Leanna says he's not worth it. Definitely not worth it. Exactly, says Chris. And Chris also says he has not done anything since he won the MVP, and Pat Mahomes should have got it. I totally agree. I agree with you 100%. The only reason why Patrick Mahomes did not win the MVP that back-to-back seasons was because, for one, the NFL writers did not want to crown Patrick Mahomes as this GOAT, as the heir apparent to Tom Brady in his 4th year in the league, right? 3rd year in the league. 2nd year as a starter. You have a starter win back-to-back MVPs his 2nd and 3rd year in the NFL. People are going to be like, what? And The only reason why Lamar Jackson, because it was the first time since Michael Vick got the 1,000 yards rushing right. He didn't miss any games, and the Ravens were 13-3 or 14-2. That's the only reason why. Best quarterback on the best team that particular year. It is. Drew says, no, they can't come to terms over guaranteed money amount of the contract. Not for sure what you're talking about there, Drew, but if you're talking about Lamar Jackson's guaranteed contract terms over the $100 million, hey, you know what, Lamar Jackson? If we are truly $100 million apart, I am going to franchise tag you. I will give you that $32 million a season for the franchise tag and prove it to me. Prove it to me that you are not a selfish SOB. You can play a full 17-game season, and you can win us a playoff game. Then you might get that extra $100 million. Oh, you were still 13-3 in the regular season in your first-round playoff exit. Oh, let me franchise tag you again for the second year. I mean, it'll probably go up to like $37 million like at that point. But then people are like, Same thing happened to Kirk Cousins over and over in Washington. But they franchised him 3 times, right? Franchise Lamar Jackson twice in the next 2 years. Make him prove it to you. Simple as that. Make him prove it to you. When Kyler, Deshaun, and the others are getting a minimum of $185 million guaranteed, their offer of $133 million guaranteed is insulting. Okay, so first things first there, Drew. Kyler Murray's contract is not guaranteed. The only guaranteed truly contract out there right now is, I believe, is Deshaun Watson's. And his is what, $350 and that's or $350 million, and that's all fully guaranteed. I don't know why the Browns did that, but that is the most Browns embarrassed thing to do out there. But you know what else is insulting? Yes, Kyler Murray has never won a playoff game. Yes, Deshaun has never won a playoff game. But they have been some of the most prolific quarterbacks in the league, top 5, top 10 quarterbacks in the league, pretty much their whole time they've been in the NFL. What has Lamar Jackson done? 1 MVP season. What is insulting is that they are so far apart of this $100 million apart, and people like John Runyon for the old Vikings, he is happy to get a $2 million deal. Like, that's insulting. If Lamar Jackson wanted... Do you guys remember when Lamar Jackson on draft night promised a Super Bowl for the Baltimore Ravens his first 5 years in the league? When you guys put him up on this pedestal, oh, he's leading us to the Super Bowl. That's insulting. Bucks have never had a quarterback who runs when needed. Facts. Absolutely tracks. James says, Kyle Trask has been behind Brady for 2 years. Bucks should give him a shot. I totally agree. Totally agree with that. Like, I thought that was the whole point of drafting Kyle Trask a couple years ago. Our first draft night special on Man Hour, I was infatuated with Kyle Trask. What he had, like 60 touchdowns in the SEC. Like he broke all types of SEC passing records and like all this other stuff. Give the guy a shot. He's still on a rookie deal. Hell, I think they signed Josh Rosen too, right? So they have 2 quarterbacks that are hungry to get in there. Actually, I think I lied. Kyle Trask is the only quarterback on the roster right now. So, yeah, definitely give him a shot. He has been behind Tom Brady for a couple seasons. Definitely knows how to prepare. Definitely knows how to be in the locker room, be a leader. I mean, whether you hate Tom Brady or not, I think Tom Brady took Kyle Trask underneath his wing and said, hey, man, I'm 50. You're 25. Learn from me. I will teach you how to be good. Watson was internal because Flores hated Tua and Lamar was a fan-driven rumor. I do remember that. I do remember that Brian Flores did not like Tua for whatever reason. It's all coming back to me here. Chris says, let's talk about how everybody doubted Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Everyone said they wouldn't make the playoffs after losing Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins. Ha, 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 ha. Super Bowl champs. So, Chris, I believe this is the first time I've seen you chat on here. As a Kansas City Chiefs fan, a Kansas native, a guy that lived in Kansas City, Missouri for the last 6 years of my life, now here in southern Indiana, I told everybody out there that the Kansas City Chiefs were going to be better without Tyreek Hill. Brandon Combs sat here, said I was dumb. Drew sat here and said I was dumb. Tori said I was dumb. Wayne G said I was dumb. The list goes on and on and on. I sit back and I laugh at them. I laugh in the face of danger, right? No, but the Kansas City Chiefs were a better team without Tyreek Hill because Patrick Mahomes was starting to force the ball to Tyreek Hill. That is the real thing here. He says, since we're bringing up Watson, do you think he's guilty in all those charges? No, I do not. I do not think that Deshaun Watson is guilty of any of those charges. Because let's be flat out honest about this. If I am a quarterback of an NFL team or a player of an NFL team and I message a girl, a massage therapist, let's just call them what they allegedly were, and I say, hey, let's meet at this hotel and you can rub me down. As a professional athlete, I'm being flat out honest. Like, look, I want to tap that ass. And if this girl was truly a professional masseuse, why am I not doing it in my business, my storefront? Why am I not doing it at their home, right? Or inviting them to my home? Why am I taking my massage board, which I'd never seen any footage of them carrying massage boards into the hotel? Why am I going to a hotel? This was all propaganda at the end of the day, to be honest with you. The Houston Texans organization knew that Deshaun Watson was unhappy. So they were planting those seeds to basically say, hey, you mess up, I got the dirt. If you want to go into the political matter here, the Jeffrey Epstein thing, right? Jeffrey Epstein couldn't keep his mouth shut. Clinton's hacked his ass, right? It is what it is. Trash was a beast at Florida. Yes, he was very, very good. Drew is on this Lamar Jackson. Drew is defending the hell out of Lamar Jackson tonight. Drew, do we need to have a heart-to-heart, man? Lamar Jackson is like a complete trash quarterback. But he says he's not asking for a 100% guaranteed contract. He wants it to be specific at AMT, I'm not sure of that, to be guaranteed. Kyler has a guaranteed portion of his contract, approximately $180 million. So, Drew, what we have to understand about the NFL here, Drew, Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson's contracts are very far outliers. They are the only guaranteed contracts out there that I've ever seen in the NFL. Now, if you go to the NBA, guaranteed money. If you go to Major League Baseball, guaranteed money. Most of the NFL contracts that we see, you have your signing bonus, your $20 million signing bonus. Then you have your best base salary of $1 million a game or something like that. And then most of it is performance-based. So if you want to call that signing bonus and the base salary guaranteed money, which I guess it is, these are outliers, Drew. Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, who else has guaranteed money? I think Derek Carr had guaranteed money, right? Those are all outliers in the end. It just, I see what you're trying to do, and I appreciate it, Drew, but those are outliers at the end of the day. So, moving on to the next Overreaction Tuesday here. Guys, on beautiful Man Hour on this Tuesday edition. Each and every Tuesday we do overreaction. We see things that are happening out there in the NFL, and we want to overreact to it. And we let you know if it's an overreaction or a underreaction. So with that being said, the next one up is Jimmy G. That's right. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Jimmy G, to the Las Vegas Raiders. Is this a overreaction? So when we think about Jimmy G Many people think about him as injury prone, being glass, being this, being yada. Like the list goes on and on and on, right? For whatever reason, Jimmy G has had this bad rap. And I totally agree with him. My man Jameson is the biggest Jimmy G hater out there. But every time Jimmy G is on the field, every time he's on the field, he leads you to a championship. A championship. NFC, Super Bowl game, Jimmy G has led you there. Now, this year you can say Brock Purdy did it, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But Jimmy G had that team clicking. Jimmy G had that team rocking. Let's flash back to the first 2 weeks of the season. Trey Lance looked like dog ass. And my dog's ass right now stinks because he ate some bread and some candy. He got some stinky ass right now. And Trey Lance looked worse than that. Jimmy G righted the ship and whatnot. So is it an overreaction that Jimmy G to the Raiders is going to happen? Guys, I do not think that is an overreaction. I think this is a real possibility. Let's think about this logically here, okay? Let's think about this. The Raiders have the 7th overall pick in this year's draft. Let's say they do go out and get a Jimmy G. They have an opportunity to basically draft a quarterback in the first round. They can go to Will Levis, they can G.J. Stroud. I think Bryce Young is probably first off the list, but C.J. Stroud or Will Levis is probably the picks that they could get at that 7th overall pick. Or they can wait till the 4th or 5th round and get my man Max Duggan from TCU. Either way, Jimmy G is going to be the starter there if he goes there. Jimmy G, we're going to have a gentleman's agreement saying, hey, you know what, man? The 49ers paid you $11.1 million last season to be a backup. I will pay you $14 million a season to be a starter for a year, knowing that you are here to train this guy to ultimately take your job either next year or the year after that. And I think Jimmy G would be all for that. Jimmy G has kind of been in that role for, it seems like, ever in his career. He sat behind Tom Brady for 5 years, went to San Francisco, was hated ever since he went to San Francisco. Like it is what it is. Then we look at the head coaching situation in Las Vegas. Josh McDaniels was his offensive coordinator when he was in New England. There's that familiarity there. They have a lot of connection. They go back. They share the same girlfriend for like a little while. Did they? Who really knows? Also, the Vegas Raiders have $46.3 million in cap space to spend this season. They already have a very good receiver core put together. They have Darren Waller. They have Devontae Adams. They have Hunter Renfro all there, basically waiting for that quarterback, Jimmy G. And then Josh Jacobs is a free agent, but, you know, his rookie deal was 4 years, $11 million, and his market value right now is probably $12.8 million. So you sign Jimmy G and Josh Jacobs to the Vegas Raiders at both at, let's say, $12.8 million both. That gives you about $25 million in cap space still to go get other linemen to help on defense. The Vegas Raiders are in a very good spot right now, guys. It just, everything kind of makes sense because what was so successful with the 49ers? They had a good running game. They had a good receiver core. They had a good defense, right? What does the Raiders have? If they sign Josh Jacobs, they have a top 5 running back in the league. They have a damn good receiver core if the quarterback can get them the ball, effectively. What do they need to do? They need to beef up the offensive line and add some secondary in the defense, and the Raiders are right there. Combs had actually had the Raiders winning the division this season. Obviously, that he was clearly wrong, but the Raiders are right there. They are a game-managing quarterback away. Guys, this is not an overreaction. Like, this could legitimately happen. And if it does happen, me as a Kansas Chiefs fan, I'm saying, oh, shit, I need to get drunk before every game because I'm going to be cheering my ass off because I need to get in Jimmy G's head. Like, everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. Jeff, right, says it's an overreaction. He doesn't like it. James says that is a good fit. Plus, he's already Vegas pretty. He is Vegas. He is a very attractive man. Jimmy G is probably the second most attractive man in the NFL. I would be throwing myself at him. I mean, even though I'm not gay, I'd still be kind of like, hey, man, $20 is $20, right? Be the change you wish to see says Mr. Irrelevant did the exact same thing as Jimmy G. You are correct. But who taught him how to do that? Jimmy G did. The 49ers had a damn good team. Be the change you wish you could see. 49ers had a very, very good defense. Let's just be honest. So I'm asking you guys this legitimately. If Jimmy G does go to the Las Vegas Raiders, Josh Jacobs does go back as a signs of $12.8 million a year deal, and they add a offensive lineman, let's say Orlando Brown Jr. He is up for free agency. We'll talk about him later in the week. He'll probably get franchise tag, but if he doesn't, say they go get him, beef up that offensive line. How scary are the Las Vegas Raiders then? With Josh Jacobs, with Darren Waller, a top two tight end in the league. Devontae Adams, when he gets the ball and when he's performing, a top 5 receiver in the league. Hunter Renfrow, one of the most unsung hero wide receivers out there. I think Josh McDaniels has gotten a bad rap as a head coach. I mean, obviously, he shut the bed in Denver after they stopped him from allowing from taping practices. I think it'd be good. James says, imagine that dude with Vegas showgirls 5 deep on each side. You know, I think Jimmy has higher class than that. Now, I'm not saying just showgirls are classless by any means, but the reason why Kyle Shanahan wanted Jimmy G out of San Francisco anyways, because he basically stole his girl. And Kyle Shanahan isn't an ugly dude, but his girlfriend or wife, she was A1. I think he is, Jimmy G is probably a dirty little slut, huh? He probably gets around. Jeff says, I don't like it because he can't stay healthy. If he could stay healthy, then I wouldn't mind it. Jeff, so I guess you are a Raiders fan. But the problem is when he is healthy, his team goes to the championship game. A conference championship game, going to the Super Bowl. Now, I get it. Like, you know, he broke his leg. You can't really control that. But how you can control it is having a better offensive line. Getting a Orlando Brown Jr. or some other people out there that are, you know, going to be free agency on the offensive lineman. Get them. Drew says, you talked about pocket passer Jimmy G to the Bucks. Everybody's going to the Bucks. You're 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 going to the Bucks. But yes, Jimmy G to the Bucks does make perfect sense. It does, Drew. But I feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are built for a very explosive offense, and that's not who Jimmy G is. Jimmy G is a game-managing quarterback. Like we've been over this on Man Hour many times, that this is not a bad term. That's just who he is. He is not going to win you games, but he's not going to lose you games either, right? He is that Trent Dilfer Ravens Super Bowl type of guy, right? You just let him go in there and do his thing, score you a couple points, win on defense. That's just who Jimmy G is. And with the receivers that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have, Godwin, Evans, etc., right? They are built to be an explosive offense. They are built for that quarterback that can, you know, throw it accurately 50, 60 yards down the field over and over and over. Now, I'm not saying he can't do that. I just haven't seen him do that because the 49ers offense was built to be a nickel and dime grinded out type of team. So on paper, it does make sense. Pocket quarterback, probably a mediocre arm. It does make sense, right? But to the Raiders, just makes perfect sense to me. I think we just seen that one. Be the change you wish you could see. Be sure to hit that subscribe button there, bud. He says, pretty sure Kyle did the teaching. Teaching Brock Purdy? I mean, obviously that's his job, right? But are you going to listen to a coach that's, my age? Obviously he's probably like 10, 12 years older than Brock Purdy, or somebody that's has been there, done that, that's in the league, right? As a football head coach myself, you get better coaching from your seniors to the sophomores than you do from yourself to the sophomores. The players connect on a different level than coaching, right? Because, if I yell at a player, I am disappointed in them, but they are pissed off because, I'm yelling at them, right? But if a senior gets on them, they are, legit, feel discouraged, right? They're like, man, why is this guy yelling at me? He has to go and see this guy in class, in 2 hours. So, that is the biggest thing. So, I feel like players coaching players, or players holding players accountable goes further than Kyle Shanahan teaching Brock Purdy. Chris says Orlando Brown isn't leaving KC. They will franchise tag him. I hope they do. But this will be his second franchise tag. But after watching that Super Bowl interview, or the pregame, or the media week with Orlando Brown Jr., I think he legit wants to stay in Kansas City. Now, last year when he was there, he came from the Ravens, right? He was all about getting paid. He's like, man, I think these guys are overrated, yada, yada, yada. It is time to get paid, right? Now, him getting that Super Bowl ring, he was paid $16 million this season, I think it was. And next year probably be. I didn't look up the alignment offensive alignment franchise tags, but it's probably $18-19 million a season. I'm not for sure, but I think Orlando Brown Jr. legitimately wants to stay in Kansas City, and the way Patrick Mahomes was held up all playoffs, I think he will definitely restructure his deal to keep somebody like Orlando there. But yeah, he's definitely going to get franchise tagged. I'm not for sure what the Chiefs will do in the draft after first round, but obviously offensive line is where you need to go. Be the change you wish you could see. You are clearly an undercover Patriots fan. My man. I am not. First of all, let me put this out there. I was a Tom Brady hater. I didn't like Tom Brady. And it wasn't the success. It wasn't that he got prettier from the age of 20 to 45. He looks better now than he did when he was younger. It's not the fact that he had some hot-ass wife. He signed divorce papers, and then the next week he had a threesome with a bunch of 20-year-olds. I did not like the Patriots. I think it's the arrogance of Bill Belichick that I don't like. Now, some of his press conferences are funny, on to Cincinnati, right? Right, but he gives off that I'm smarter than everybody in the room vibe, and that just irritates the piss out of me. I have a couple people that I work with that are like that. It irritates the piss out of me, and I'm definitely not an undercover Patriots fan. You know what? F the Patriots. A Texans fan in the house. What? Texans? What? How about Derek Carr to the Texans? Complete that full circle. David Carr was your first ever quarterback, right? Bring in Derek Carr. There you go. That'll be grand. Said, you want a good discussion. My fiance is a Cowboys fan while I'm a Texans fan. Talk about a house divided. Oh, shoot. If you like the Dallas Cowboys, on Thursdays we have Mike LeBlanc here, and he's a good Cowboys fan. This week I'm going to get underneath his skin. I believe Mike Evans is a free agent. I believe so as well, Drew, because I think they signed a franchise tag last year for him, so he definitely will be there as well. I'm not 100% sure what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers look like. To be flat out honest with you, but it is time to get moving on. My voice is already starting to grow, which sucks, man. I hate when my voice starts to go like this. Let me go ahead and sip on my hot tea. Anyways, next up here on the Overreaction Tuesday, Derek Carr has been highly sought out in the news over and over and over again. He has been linked to many, many teams, and he is, quote, going on some, basically like a tour of like the NFL, and he thinks anybody and everybody wants to have him. So overreaction that Derek Carr to the Saints makes sense for Derek Carr and both the Saints. Guys, first things first. The Saints. They are in salary cap hell right now. They are $44.3 million over the cap. Over the cap, they are $44.3 million. So they legit have to trim off $44.3 million of player salary just to even be able to field a team this season. So that means you're basically probably going to cut some big stars. You're probably going to cut or trade Cam Jordan, which is arguably their best defensive player. Michael Thomas is probably out. Alvin Kamara is probably in jail. This is not very good for them. And then their first pick in this year's draft is the 29th overall pick that they got for Sean Payton. So they weren't even going to have a first-round pick until the Denver Broncos decided to get Sean Payton. They had 8 total picks this year's in this year's draft. So for Derek Carr to go to the Saints, they basically have to, any big name that's getting paid over like $10 million, you're out of here. Because Derek Carr is going to be wanting that $40 million price tag. Let's just be honest. He is probably going to want it. He was going to get that in Vegas. He said, you know what? I mean, they told him to kick rocks in the end. So we'll see what he ultimately gets. But he'll probably get that $37 to $40 million price tag. So with that being said, if he goes to the Saints, he is going to lose everybody around him. You are going to be the worst team in the NFL for a very, very long time. You will literally probably be the worst team in the NFL until Derek Carr retires. Unless somehow they nail this draft. They get all 8 picks and they literally nail this draft. I don't see it happening, but maybe they do. Maybe they become a 500 team. Maybe then they get 8 picks the next year's draft and nail it again. Oh, those rookies are starting to perform. These rookies are starting to perform 3-4 years later. They want to get paid. Okay, then what happened? So Derek Carr to the Saints does not make any sense to me whatsoever. This is definitely an overreaction. This is just stupid like at this point. There is a reason why when Derek Carr was a part of the Raiders and he went to visit the Saints and he's like, you know what, I'm not going to accept a trade to the Saints. Because for one, $44 million over the cap. They wouldn't be able to pay his ass. 2, they need all the draft picks they can get to put talent around Derek Carr. So if Derek Carr were to go to the Saints would probably offer them 2 picks, right? Maybe a second or third round pick, let's just say. That ultimately gives you a first round pick and then a 4th round pick after that. I'm not saying it can't happen, but this is dumb. Derek Carr is not going to go to the Saints. Derek Carr is not going to go to the Jets either. The Jets are $2.4 million over the salary cap. They got to cut some luggage there to pay Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr. So for all these people wishing and thinking that Derek Carr is going to be like the first domino that drops, no. Derek Carr is going to end up on a team that is probably going to end up giving him the league minimum. I think Derek Carr is a top 10 quarterback in the league. I think he is a damn good quarterback, to be exact. I mean, on pretty much on any team in the NFL, Derek Carr makes them a playoff caliber team. He's done it once. He's done it twice. He'll do it again. But to the Saints, no. Not going to happen. On the bright side, the Saints are in the worst division in football. That could happen. I don't know. It is what it is. Oh, back to San Francisco here. Purdy fell into the perfect storm in San Francisco. Let's see what he does next year before I agree, James. So basically, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant or whatever you want to call him, has been kinged the GOAT of the draft, right? He was 7-0, and he lost his first game in the NFC Championship game versus the best defense, yada yada yada. But yeah, give me a full season. Give me an opportunity for teams to prepare for a Brock Purdy, right? I don't like it. Chris comes out and says, I'm just going to say it, but Derek Carr is a bum. I'm just saying. I think Derek Carr is undervalued in the NFL. Look what he did a couple years ago in the NFL. He lost his star wide receiver in Henry Ruggs. He lost the starting safety as well for flashing guns and money and doing drug things, right? John Gruden was fired or asked to leave, air quotes there, mid-season, and they still made the playoffs. If you look at Derek Carr's stats, they are very, very, very steady, right? He consistently getting 4,000 to 4,500 yards every season. He is consistently, doing what it takes to win football games. For whatever reason, the Raiders were basically refusing to build around him. They were refusing to basically saying, hey, you are our guy. And as somebody that, that has been in those situations, it starts to take a toll on you. It starts to say, like, do I really want to show up to work? Do I really want to put my heart and soul into this team, make all this money, and they're like saying they want to trade me every year? Guys, do you realize ever since 2019, Derek Carr's name has come up in some type of trade every offseason since 2019? The last 4 seasons, he has been in he's getting traded to the Packers for Aaron Rodgers. Oh, he's going to Dallas. Oh, he's going to Miami. He's going to San Francisco, right? It just every year they're talking about trading this man, and he continues to come out and perform each and every year. Finally, he just said enough is enough, and it is what it is. The Jets are going to give Carr whatever he wants to go there. They can try, but they're $2.44 million over the cap. Like, you could try to do all this stuff, but at the end of the day, like, they have to have money, right? They have to get it from somewhere. Who are you going to cut? Yes, they got a couple good rookies on deals, right? They have like Elijah Moore. He's in his fourth year, right? Garrett Wilson, a top 10 receiver in the league. Breece Hall, right? It just, I don't know. The Jets have a good nucleus in place. They have a good core in place. They are a quarterback away. They have a pretty good defense. They have a pretty good offensive line. They have a pretty good skills players, right? They are a quarterback away. But let's say you do go in and get a Derek Carr. Let's say you do go again in an Aaron Rodgers. You are in a must-win now situation. Do we legitimately think that the Jets are in a must-now situation? Do you think that if we put Aaron Rodgers on the Jets right now, they're going to the Super Bowl? Do we think if we put Derek Carr on the Jets right now, they're going to the Super Bowl? They will be a playoff-bound team with both of those quarterbacks, yes. Winning the Super Bowl? No, they are not. They are still too young. They're still too wet behind the ears, and they still got a little bit of holes there to like fill. When you pay Aaron Rodgers $50 million or Derek Carr $40 million to come to your team, that handcuffs you for the next couple seasons. When you pay a veteran quarterback that kind of money, that says, hey, we are ready to win right now. That's what the Denver Broncos would say. Hey, we're ready to win right now, even though Russell Wilson was like 0-6, like at the point, like, hey, give that man the house, the keys, and the keys to the boat. Fill that thing up. Messed up. I just don't see the Jets going all in on Aaron Rodgers for sure. Derek Carr, it's going to be like a $20 million deal. It is what it is. Carr needs to stay out of the North teams. His record sucks and the temperature's below 40. Also, on the bright side, on the other hand of that, Drew, how many times has he played under 40 when he hasn't played the Kansas City Chiefs? When you are a very you're in a warm weather conference, right? The Chargers, the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chiefs, right? And usually you play the Chiefs and Broncos earlier in the season at home, so you're not like under 40. I would like to see the total record. Is he like, oh, he's 1-3 or something? I don't know. Is what it is. Joey popping in the chat. What's up, Joey? You missed all the good stuff, man. We're getting ready to wrap the show up, man. We've been on for an hour. I'm actually going to Cincinnati tomorrow, so I gotta what? Broncos what? Broncos aren't a bad team, man. Broncos were legitimately a quarterback away last season. They just got the wrong quarterback. And then they got the wrong coach. And then they got the wrong defensive coordinator. And then they traded Von Miller. And then they traded Bradley Chubb. The Broncos were like, hey, we want everybody out of here to bring Russell Wilson in to be 3-17. Denver's not warm, he says. Denver is warm. My dad's out there right now riding motorcycles. Vroom, vroom, baby. But, guys, it is time to open up with some shot talk. If you guys got any questions here the last couple minutes, shoot them away. We got a poll going here at facebook.com/manhour. It says, do the Ravens and Lamar Jackson work out a deal? And I want to end the poll right now. And I want to see the old, if I end the poll, it's not going to give me the things? Not going to give me the thingy, my Bob? What the hut? If you guys are on Facebook, I just ended the poll. Let me know what the outcome was. Apparently, I can't see it. This is stupid. But guys, that's going to be it for tonight. Head over to manhour.co. That's manhour.co. Check out the website. Check out the blog section. Also, check out the merchandise. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Combs is supposed to be on tomorrow. We'll see. Later, guys. We out.